What's up, buddy? It's your boy Drift. I am back with Shinobi. We are here with another overnights episode. Hopefully, you all have subscribed or been tuning in and joining the night squad or the night shift squad. We're gonna go ahead and have a pretty much yappy episode this week. We don't really have like a designated topic. He had a busy weekend. I had a busy weekend. We ended up doing some things that we're gonna share, talk about, and just yap at the end, like always, about anything we think of. But it's again, of course, we had eventful activities this weekend. I'm gonna go ahead and let him do his intro, and then we'll go ahead and hop right into what we did.
What's up, y'all? Shinobi radixan. Pretty much just do YouTube.
Yes, sir. All the links are in the description below. So why don't you go ahead and share what you and the boy Maggie did this weekend?
We took a little trip. I've taken Mickey to LA. Once, twice, I think once. And that was back in 24 for Matsuri. I don't think he's ever gone to LA. I think that was his first time, and he actually really enjoyed it, which is cool. I love when people enjoy, my state, and so it's like a second home almost. But we went for Zipangu, the first time that they've ever had it up. If you guys don't know or like didn't hear about it, it's basically just like Japanese music. They had like food and stuff, but we mainly just went there for the food. They did have also like a meet and greet with a couple VTubers. Doki Bird, I know, was there. Matara, and I think like 2 or 3 other ones. We didn't have time for that though. I'll get to that though in a second. But we left on a Friday and we got there like somewhat early. It was like at 5-ish. And we're like, we want to go and explore Little Tokyo because the last time that we went, it was like super late and everything was closed. And we're kind of just busy. It was pretty much just like get there, Matsuri, and then the next day leave. So we didn't really have time to do much exploring. But this time we decided to stay a day after. So we were like, we're staying the day after. We can explore Little Tokyo then because we have like all day pretty much. Let's hit up FanFest. I'm glad that we did. We're kind of on the fence on it because I've been to Universal once. It was cool. Just not really for me because I get motion sickness and a lot of those rides are just like sit down, look at a screen. That's what gets me motion sick. That or like going backwards. And a lot of those are like that. I think majority of the rides are like that. But it was a lot of fun. We got there, I want to say like an hour after it officially started, and there was a couple of rides still open. The Jurassic Park one was still up. Transformers we rode. The Mario Kart one. I think those are the only ones. And then from there we explored the different FanFest stuff. This year it was One Piece, Sailor Moon, Scooby-Doo, Dungeons and Dragons. They had like the different color Yoshis. I think those were like all the differences. There might have been some other stuff, but really cool. If you're in the area during FanFest, because I think it's around the same time frame, like August or not August, April to May. So I recommend it. It changes every year, so it's not going to be the same next year, but super cool. I think my favorite, and just because I'm a Sailor Moon fan, was the Sailor Moon thing. I'm pretty sure if Miggy was on here, he'd tell you the One Piece show was probably his favorite, but very different experience. I thought it was going to be like super packed, so I was thinking, okay, daytime lines, maybe a little bit longer of wait times, because you got all the weebs and all the anime fans coming out. Actually, no lines for like almost anything, aside from like the show stuff. But yeah, super cool. So we did that on Friday, and then we crashed out, and then Saturday was the Pangu. I thought it was gonna be as organized as Camp Flogna, because I go to Camp Flogna every year since 23, and it's the same company that runs it, Golden Voice. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be smooth. Everything's gonna be chilling. To be fair, we did get there 15 minutes before doors open, but even then, it was an hour and a half to get in, which is insane. And I know GA lines for festivals be, pretty long, because I know the camp lines be getting pretty long too. But an hour and a half is kind of crazy to just get in. So we didn't see Teddy Lloyd, which was like a last minute addition for the lineup. He opened, I think, literally 5 minutes after the gates opened. We missed Hana, which is a band that I did want to see. I don't know much of their music, but I know a couple songs, and then Chanamina, part of that group. I listen to her stuff, so kind of bummed out about that. But aside from that, and then the merch line was disgusting. It was just really unorganized when it came to the lines and stuff. Where it was actually located, I really liked. I've never been to the Rose Bowl, so I thought it was gonna be just like camp, where it's like out in the parking lot, but they have like a grass area, so it was all there. And then you had the different like little hills and dips. So if you wanted to just like chill out, lay back, you can just like go all the way to the back, get on a nice hill, spread out your little picnic blanket, and just chill out. There's a couple people that did that. I wanted to go into the pit, but Miggy's not much of a pit kind of person. But we did find a good spot near, I guess you can call it the barricade. It was pretty much the border for the VIP, and I mean it was a pretty good spot. It was on top of a hill, so we didn't really have to like struggle to see anything. 10 Feet was the first actual performers that we got to see from the merge line. Super cool band. I've never heard of them, but I guess they've been rocking for like 20 years, long ass time. Highly recommend their stuff. They were pretty cool. They're a bunch of unks, and they were just showing a bunch of love to LA. After that was, I think, Chanamina. Super cool. Who else was after that? Man with a Mission. Man with a Mission was another cool one. It's another like band. Never heard of them neither. I think Miggy knew one of their songs because they did one of the themes for an anime. I could be tripping. I could be misremembering. Probably thinking of another band, but they were pretty cool. And then the big three: Atarashi Gakko, Yuki Chiba, and Ado. I've seen all three of them 3 different times. They're super, super cool. Atarashi just has this like stage presence that's immaculate. I love it. They're constantly moving. They know how to get the crowd moving. Got plenty of bangers. So highly recommend them. Yuki, I just like how diverse his music is. And I've talked about him a little bit on that episode where we were talking about like different albums and favorite songs and stuff like that. But he has such a diverse like discog that he can get the crowd moving, but then he can slow it down and then bring it back up, kind of thing. So I like him just for that, the variety. And then Ado, I mean, her voice is just like ridiculous. It's so good. And the visuals, she got the live band going on. Anytime you have a live band, I feel like it's kind of hard to mess up. So highly recommend going to see them, even if you know just like a couple songs or you're like kind of interested in their music. It's well worth going to see them. I guess a testament to that, Miggy had never listened to Atarashi Gakko until Matsuri. He knew a couple songs, but he didn't really like mess with them like that. After seeing them, he was like, "Yo, we gotta go to a concert whenever they tour." And Miggy's not like a concert kind of person, so that should tell you enough. But yeah, overall, super cool. Shouts out to Hiro. He was the homie that we met while we were like waiting for the different bands. Super cool dude. And I also like, and I feel like it's more so with like Japanese like artists. I could be tripping. You could be getting stuff like this with regular artists, but probably like super rare. But they always be giving out freebies at stuff. So they were giving out like I don't know what to call them. Like they're not lenticulars where like you can move them and stuff, but it has like that same kind of feel. They were giving out freebies for the different artists, which is pretty cool. Shouts out to anybody that be doing that too, putting in the time and work to just like give that out. And with the person that was doing these, she didn't even have like an Instagram or nothing. She was just doing it for the love of the game, which is crazy. But yeah, shouts out to y'all. So that was Saturday. We were there until like I want to say like 11:30 is when we finally got out of the parking. So then Sunday we explored around Low Tokyo. We went to a maid cafe, which we wanted to do it in Japan, but me and Mickey, we're not like the most like out there kind of people. So it was like this weird feeling of like we're already out of place. We're gonna be even more out of place in like a maid cafe there. But we decided to just bite the bullet and go to this one because it's like okay, cool. They expect people to just like go in there and like not know Japanese kind of thing. I'm glad that we did not do that in Japan because they started hitting us with some Nihongo just to like, introduce themselves and stuff. We would have been cooked over there. Like the language barrier, it just would have been like a huge ass hurdle. But it was cool. We went in the morning, so it wasn't like super crazy like performances and stuff like that. But it was cool. Definitely an experience. Shout out to Psyche. She was the maid that was getting our orders and stuff. She was cool. If you're in the area, it is called Asayoro Maid Cafe. I don't know if there's like a place where you can like find the schedule of which maids are, working a certain day or whatever, but I feel like they're all gonna be like cool and stuff. But we did that in the morning, and then we explored Little Tokyo, just a bunch of shops. You know what I mean? It's mainly a lot of like blind boxes now, just because like that's a big thing. But they've got the different restaurants. They've got Tokyo Central and Maruhumi, I think is what it's called, which is like another grocery. So it's a nice little slice of Japan, and it does kind of like take you back, like seeing the different stuff, and with us being able to go a couple of times. But chilled out there for a little bit. We ate at the One Piece Cafe. Usually theme cafes, you don't hear like really good like reviews on food. This one, the complete opposite. The food here hits every time. I've been a couple of times. I highly recommend the takoyaki if you're into seafood. The katsu was the first time I had it, but it was actually pretty good. And then the two different horchatas, the matcha one and the ube. I prefer the ube one. The matcha one, you can taste the matcha, but it's not like super strong. The ube, you could taste the ube and the horchata, so highly recommend that. But that was pretty much it. We just explored there, and then we hit up this one bookstore. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like Kino something. But I picked up Uzumaki because I love Junji Ito's art style, and we got hold with the anime or with the adaptation from Adult Swim. Aside from the first episode is highly, highly recommended that you watch. And then after that, you can kind of skip it. You watch it if you want, but you could tell a lot of love went into that first episode, and it was definitely a budget thing. I mean, they said it was a budget thing anyways, that they blew it all on the first episode. But the mangas, highly, 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 highly recommend. Just picking them up, even if you don't like actually take it home, just take the time to look through the pages because the art is ridiculously good. I think the Adult Swim one is the only one that really did it justice. just talking about the first episode. With the art style, it it's definitely like an homage to uh, the mangas. But yeah, that was our trip. Hopefully, we can go back. I know I'm going back a couple times for a couple different concerts. So yeah,
That's sick to hear. It's cool that me got to do all that stuff for the first time. It's cool when people get to go to California. California is a lot better than Arizona, honestly. Especially when it comes to like activities and things to do. It's just better.
yeah, there's just a lot to do. And then even then, I could take them to Dago, where I'm from, and then there's a bunch of stuff to do, and it's only like 2 hours, 2.5 hours with traffic. So everything's like I don't want to say close because like I don't mind driving that long to like go and do something, um, but it's like well worth like a day trip to
Yeah,
be like
100%.
going to the different cities like around there because there's still stuff to do.
We had, and there's just a lot of stuff in California, like especially amusement parks and like bigger activities to do.
Yeah, and then with it being LA, there's always like a pop up or something.
Hmm.
They had one. I don't even know what it is. I think it was like ACDC rag. I don't know if it was like a group or like a certain brand or something with like um it was kind of like Lolita fashion, like gothic kind of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but they always got stuff going on there. So
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's sick. There's always things to do there. I'll go ahead and hop into what we did. Me and the boy Zerk, who was just up previously on the last podcast episode, make sure you guys check that out. We ended up going to Collecticon, which was pretty much the Comic Con to collectible shows now. It honestly might be bigger. It's one of the biggest shows now to do, period. And this was one of the first times ever that it came to Arizona. So Zerk was able to secure some tickets for pretty low. He wasn't trying to go if they were full price because they were expensive to get in if you were full price, but he got us some um, tickets on the low. So we ended up going, and it's a lot bigger than a regular card show like Front Row Card Show or any other card show that I've been to for that matter. They had like obviously like celebrities and stuff like that for you to do meet and greets and sign things, and there was guests all over the place, just walking around buying cards and stuff. And yeah, and it's not only cards either. It's like I said, collectible stuff. So there was people who do like Funko Pops. Obviously, were a big thing there. They had a couple Pop Market stands or Pop Mart stands with a bunch of like Boo Boos and stuff like that. Obviously, like all the more expensive stuff. And then they had like people who do like 3D printing, so you can get like character helmets and masks and weapons and things like that, replica weapons and things like that. So it was totally cool to walk around. Um, I will say it is not for the weak. And by what I mean not for the weak, I mean there's not for the weak with people who don't have big pockets because a lot of people at the show really carry just bigger inventory. Um, as far as when it comes to like collectibles and cards, some stands had like cheaper end cards, but with the way that the Pokemon market is right now, everything's kind of just booming. So yeah, you kind of gotta have deep pockets to go to a show like this, or at least be willing to spend quite a bit of money to buy anything. But the vibe was super sick. The venue was somewhere in Scottsdale, so that was kind of cool. I had never been to this venue. Um, there was like hundreds of tables. Um, I think for the first Collecticon in Arizona, it was a success. I mean, it was hella packed, but we got in pretty fast. There was a bunch of YouTubers there, so I got to see some of the bigger YouTubers that we watch on YouTube who do Pokemon content. Like Bulbasaur was there, Jarchomp was there again, which I had seen there for a while before, so it was cool to see him again. But there were some new faces there, like Pac Battle and Oriyama and stuff like that. So we got to walk around different tables and stuff and look at a bunch of Pokemon cards. I ended up picking up a few cards myself. Nothing crazy. I probably spent like $200, if that. I got a couple cards from my PC. My boy Zerk kind of went crazy. He spent a little more, but he definitely got heat for you guys for his TikTok. So make sure you guys stop by his TikTok if you guys are interested in buying some cards from him. He spent quite a bit of money, and he got a lot of vintage heat, some very minimal modern. I don't really think he got anything crazy for modern, but mostly stamped and X and Y stuff like he likes for the show. But yeah, I ended up picking up a few e-readers, some Wizard of the Coast, and a couple Raichu cards and a one Tyranitar card. Um, so overall, it was a sick event. For its first time being a Arizona thing, I hope that CollectorCon comes more often. I'm trying to see if more things start coming to Arizona because like Shinobi might be able to test this. Arizona isn't really known to have like a lot of like the bigger events and or concerts for certain artists. They're really starting to grow over like the last like year or two where we're starting to get like a lot more things. But maybe not music wise, but for sure like event wise, like we don't get like a lot of like huge like sporting events outside of like the Super Bowl occasionally. But we don't get like any of like the other huge sporting events unless like a team from Arizona is in the playoffs and they they're forced to have to be here. Um, but we also don't get any of like the crazy like shows or like pop-ups like anything like wrestling or anything like crazy like F1 or anything like that really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like super big into sports and stuff, so I'm chilling when it comes to that. Music, I mean, I feel like all the bigger events are always going to be in places like LA or like New York. I think Chicago is like another big one.
Yeah.
Usually all the cities that got like, the motion essentially. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but I mean, concert wise, I mean, I, it might have been different back in the day because it's only been like somewhat recently where I've been like really going into concerts and going hard, like going into live events like that. But all the artists that I've listened to, they usually stop by here. So
Yeah, I just meant like in general, like not only sports, I just meant Arizona in general, like has been growing when it comes to things like that. Like even for something like CollectorCon for its first time here, because it is usually like multiple stops in LA and then like the bigger cities like Chicago and stuff like that. So it just for the first time for it being in Arizona is kind of cool. And like I said, Arizona is opening up their doors to more and more bigger events. I just feel like Arizona is steadily climbing to be one of the more popular states to live in and making it more expensive. So it's just Arizona's just growing in general is what I was trying to say. But yeah, I think for like my review of the experience, the tickets are a little steep if you get them full price, but I definitely think for the people who went, it was super worth it. The event was super cool. They had a couple, like I said, actors and stuff there, voice actors, like the live action voice, not live action, but the voice actor for the dubbed version of like Todoroki from My Hero was there. So was Bakugo. I think there was like a guest music artist or like DJ dude, which is like the Steve Oiko dude or whatever. He was there for a little bit. Um, Quite a bit of cosplayers were there. I don't think there was many people cosplaying like it's like Comic Con where it's like all over the place, but there was a handful of people. All the vendors were super sick. And like I said, it was a cool experience. I think we walked around maybe 50% of the venue before we left. Um, and we got there like an hour after it started. But it was a really cool experience. Like I said, if you definitely have the money to go to something like that, or even if you don't, even if you want to just window shop, I think if you can get into the event and just check out the event, it is super fun. The people there were super nice. Um, I tell you what, a lot of the vendors were buying at a decent price compared to like going to like car stores. It was crazy how much they were willing to pay. Some of these guys were going up to like full price almost, like a 90%, 85% on high end stuff. So it was super sick. For me, it was a lot of window shopping. I just didn't have the money, extra money to spend, but I really regret not being prepared for this show because there were so many cards that I wanted to get. And like I will give Collecticon props for this. Um, Collecticon people definitely went out of the way to get hard heat at their table. Like people were getting hard cards that they know people want to get and you don't see all the time. I've seen a lot of like Japanese exclusives. I've seen a bunch of cards that I really wanted that I just haven't been able to find or and I just didn't have the money to get them. For the longest, I wanted to get the level X Pikachu, which if anyone don't know with the level X cards, there's a certain set amount of them, and then there's a specific movie promo in Japanese for Pikachu, where it's a level X that you can only get like exclusively through like the movie boxes back then, which obviously you can't get no more. But I seen a bunch of them at the show, and this is the first time I've ever seen those kind of cards in person, and I was like, dude, I just didn't have the money to get it, but I really wish
Chill.
I prepped for it, but then again, I'm not even sure if I prepped for it. If I've been able to fucking get it. Like I said, I initially only brought $300 as like a spending limit to go and get stuff, and most of the cards I wanted started off at $300. So I was really walking around like, damn.
Yeah, like I've gone to like local card shows. They
Yeah,
usually don't have like the really big expensive ones. I think that's why it's like such a drastic difference when you go to like the bigger events because it is just people trying to like move the merchandise. Because even like in local card shops, you don't really see the really expensive stuff aside from like sealed and stuff. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, if you do want to sell, yeah, that's definitely where you want to sell is the card shows because I've sold both at shows and at just local shops. Local shops, I mean, you got to take in consideration like they're factoring in like their overhead, bills and stuff, like rent and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Inventory, yeah.
So I think like the best offer I've ever had was like 65%, and that was just because the dude knew the owner and like was super cool with him, and um, it was like it was an expensive card. It was the Pikachu stamp box one. Um, the pair, both the Cramoran and the Pikachu. That was just I mean, pricing out, see what people would offer. But yeah, usually for like higher end stuff, that's definitely where you want to sell your stuff. Local card shops, if you just need like some quick cash, just give them the stuff that's usually like $70 to like $50. You're not gonna get like a lot out of it, but if you like in need of cash like ASAP, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think it's definitely worth it to sell it to vendors. I mean, they're more willing to work with you. You just gotta be careful because some of them are really cheap about buying and selling. At the same, well, not cheap about selling, but buying. And a lot of them will always like try to favor like trade instead of paying you out cash. But you gotta look, like have an idea of what you're going for. Um, but yeah, the show was massively like I said, this is the most amount of heat I've seen. A lot of tables had like really expensive cards. I mean, like I said, like a lot of the bigger YouTube channels, I mean, their PSA cases were fucking insane. Like it's not even funny how much
Yeah.
money they just had sitting around there. But overall, it was super cool. We got to like meet some cool people, talking to people. I think at Pokemon events are really cool. Um, Obviously, like this time we didn't really experience any like people being like a holes at their stand or anything. Everyone was generally nice. I just think when you go to shows, it's very subjective of what you're looking to buy because a lot of people like overpriced thing. Like the market at a show is not like really the same. Some people go off of like TCG player. Some people go off of like recent sales off eBay. Some people go off what they think the condition will be. So just be prepared for a lot of bargaining and negotiating as well when you're looking to buy cards and stuff like that. And also like conditions. I would always like double check conditions. I usually would say trust who you're buying from, like at a store or something, because most of the time those guys are like super accurate. But at shows, some people really push like the near mint label or the LP label. So really pay attention to like what you're buying. And if you know, I guess this is advice that I would give for me personally. Like what I like to do is if I know I'm going for a specific card, I try not to just buy it the first time I see it at one stand. I kind of like want to get a feel of the room, walk around a few tables, see if I see someone else for a little bit cheaper or maybe like a lower price around the same condition and then try to get it there. Or hopefully I can walk around and maybe that was the first initial one was the best one and then I circle back and get it. Stuff like that. But overall, it was super sick. The Collector Con came to Arizona. We only went one day. It was 2 days. It was Saturday and Sunday, but we ended up only going Saturday. I don't think I would have really wanted to go the second day, anyways. Like, I mean, as much as I love Pokemon and stuff, the stands were like super cool and stuff. But like I said, it's just um, it was a cool one-time experience for me.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I've never been to a big one. I don't know if it would be like my thing now, just because like I'm not super big into the card stuff. But if you're trying to find like one of those like hard to find stuff, or even like Japanese, because I've the local ones that I've been to, they have like no Japanese. So if you're looking for something specific, the big ones are probably like your only best bet, aside from shopping online like eBay.
Yeah, I agree. There was actually a lot of tables who had English and Japanese cards, and there was a stacked amount
Yeah,
of Japanese cards. And like I said, people at this kind of show, it's in the nature for certain buyers to have exclusive heat, like harder cards to get. There was plenty of people who had exclusive Japanese cards that you like see on YouTube videos, or you like a lot of. Let me rephrase that. There are a lot of high wanted chase cards that people are sought after to get. They had at those tables. I mean, this is where you kind of like go and a dude might have everything. Like he might have Bubble Mew, he might have a Moonbreon, he might have the other Umbreon card. Um, you know all the big heat, like all the vintage cards. There's the guy who might have like level X Snorlax all at one spot. It's hard to go to shows where everyone has everything all in one place, but realistically, these are one of the places that have everything all in one place. And
yeah,
like I said, it's super cool. I will keep. I don't want to keep yapping about Pokemon cards. I think one thing that I really liked about this show, um, more than Zerk, was there was a lot of you know, what's a good way to put it? Like a lot of stands where they do like their own shit, kind of like it wasn't just Pokemon cards or Funko Pops. Like there was this person that I got some coasters from, which are like these rubber coasters that absorb like the sweat and stuff, and they're custom made. Like ones when they had like a bunch of Pokemon on them or anime. So I really liked seeing like the unique stands, like the pretty much like the mom and pops, people who do their shit themselves. The 3D printing stuff was cool. I thought the people who did like the 3D printing stands were sick. They're kind of just doing it for like the love of the game. They're sitting there, they're just at a niche thing. They're selling like replica anime weapons, replica game guns. There was a dude specifically that had like what is it? An anime stand with like some stuff, and he had a bunch of game weapons and stuff. And I wasn't expecting to see like Halo or Destiny guns, or like Call of Duty guns, really. But he had some sick ones. I was really tempted to maybe get like a replica Destiny gun because I had ended up getting Zerk a cool one from a website that I follow or I know of for his birthday a few years ago, and I really want to get some for myself. And they had some replica Destiny weapons there. They were just like really large portions, so like it was kind of a throw off for me. But if they were sized a little better, I probably would have got some, and they were super sick. I also wanted to get a Maka's
yeah.
staff or scythe from Soul Eater. I thought that would have been sick, but it was kind of expensive, so I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that much, and I kind of don't have nowhere to put it. So,
Facts.
but yeah, I really like stuff like that. There's people who do like other 3D printing shit. Like there was another stand I went to with this older woman, and she was selling like I don't know if you've seen those or anyone has seen those. Like they're like Pokeball like you collect, but the Pokeball is like the theme of a Pokemon. Like it'll have like the shapes, like the ears, and or color wave of like a certain Pokemon. Obviously I was wanted to get a Lucario one, but they didn't have no Lucario ones. Um, but she did like some sick designs for other things. Like she had a lot of like the game cartridges, like the Game Boy Color games where it was like Soul Silver and Lugia was like coming out of the cartridge. She had like those meme like swole Pokemon like statues,
Okay.
so those were sick. But yeah, I really wanted to get one of those themed Pokeballs, but they really didn't have any that I was interested in. The best one that she was carrying was like a Lugia one, where it was like Lugia's wing and his tail coming out of the back of the Pokeball, and then it's like a white or like a blue light, kind of like the colorway of Lugia, but it was like $200 something because it like lit up and stuff. So I was like, Jesus Christ! But super sick. But yeah, I really appreciated those kind of stands more than like the actual like main brand stuff, or main stuff. It was cool to see like little like shops in between. I really paid attention and communicated or like talk with those people more because those people are generally like doing their own thing. So and it's hard when you're like selling like like the 3D printed stuff in the middle of like because they're like I don't know if people have been to card shows before, but like usually all the rows are like bracketed in like little squares, and you walk forward. There's a gap between the flooring and another like set of square tables, and I know it's like hard like being that person surrounded by like people selling Pokemon cards and Funko Pops, and then like you're in this little like block together with all these people selling stuff, and your neighbor next to you has a full table full like 40 people in front of them, and then your other neighbor has like a lot, and then you're like kind of like sitting there trying to sell your own stuff, and you only got like sometimes no one in front of your table. So it's really cool to just walk up and talk to those people and like show that like you know maybe I didn't able to buy from them all the time, but at least show that like I'm interested, and I always like try to compliment them and stuff because they're sitting there, they're people too. They want to enjoy the hobby just in a different way.
Yeah, they pretty much do it for the love of the game. I think the most recent person that I've like come across, like my recommended, that's Pokemon like related but doesn't like deal with the cards. Fufu collects. She does like custom drawings on the Voltex binders. They're
Oh
super
yeah,
sick.
yeah.
Highly recommend checking her stuff out. She does that, and then the energy cards. She'll draw different mons on them.
Yeah, I want to. I was actually thinking about doing that again, like one of my binders customized, but they're it's kind of expensive. But yeah, I think people who do like art or like something like that, those kind of shows they deserve to just even if you just compliment their stuff, like say you like their stand, that makes their day as much as buying something because at least you're like noticing them. It makes them know that like what they're doing is like worth it. Like because like he said at the end of the day like it is for the love of the game, and I'm sure at least they made enough money to hopefully cover their table because the tables at this event were like super expensive. Some of the vendors we talked to that we know from like local card stores and stuff, the seals all the time were telling us that like the tables were like 200 or something dollars a table or something like that, and then you have to like if you don't have cases you got to rent cases for them. It's just a lot, and I'm talking about for 2 days you're talking about like $400 plus for like a table for both days, so you're hopefully making the money back. I know the people selling cards and stuff are going to make the money back, but someone like that I honestly have no idea whether they break even or they make more. I'm assuming hopefully with as many people that went they made way more than that, but either way, you never know. Like I said, I just want to shout out them and like show that I appreciate what they were doing. And like I said, it's just interesting because like people were making all kinds of stuff. Like there was a dude there who did like um custom like play mats or custom like mouse pads and stuff, and it's like of popular characters with his art style. So there was people who do like there were some dudes there that did a kind of like the Game Changer brand of like the vintage like old school shirts, and they did it like in Pokemon and anime themed shirts, so it was like super sick.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff. It was cool. Like I said, I honestly really enjoyed more of the people who were doing their own thing than the card stands. Obviously, I was into the cards. I'm still into the cards, but I'm also like Shinobi in a way where like I still do collect, but I'm not at the pace where I'm doing it all the time no more. One, it's just I don't know. I'm not really super excited about getting cards all the time no more, and two, it's just like even if I wanted to, it's super expensive right now. The market's just crazy. Like I'd rather just get a card that I really want when I can, and not like rush to get it anymore. It's just at the point where that hobby is kind of like expensive. So like when I'm gonna spend, I just gotta spend when I have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, that was our weekends. Um, like I said, we didn't have really a topic to talk about. We wanted to just show you guys what we did. Make sure you guys have a pod for this episode or coming up this week. We'll go ahead and lap a little more about some things going on that we maybe heard about, or if he has anything heard about. Um, so for those of you who don't know, we lately we've been flaming fucking Sony at the beginning of our pods, but Sony actually did something W, and the Lego Batman game has dropped. If you have PlayStation and you pre-order it now, I think it was like 5 days. You could play now. That's all I know. You could play today. I don't know how many days it's already been out for. You play all the way until I think the game drops on like the 22nd, 21st maybe. But if you have PlayStation and you bought the best edition of it, um, you can play the game. It's super sick. For those of you who like the Batman games and or the Batman world, I don't want to spoil the game. Oh, I don't want to spoil it for Shinobi because I know he might play it for his channel, but I'll just say some things that I know that are in the game that are not spoilers. For those of you guys who like to collect things, I think there's like over like 100 bat suits for you to collect. I know they brought back the Riddler challenges around the map. So that's something that's in the game. Each of the characters have their own collection of wardrobe as well. Like there's up to like I don't know exact number, but I know there's like 30 or 40 different like Nightwing suits. There's like 40 or 50 different Robin suits. There's a couple Jim Gordon suits. I know that Catwoman also has a bunch of suits that you can play as. And other than that, this is like a celebratory game revolving around the Arkham series or like the Arkham Knight and stuff like that, all the Arkham games, but they have references from like iconic scenes from like the animated Batman show and or like the Dark Knight movie. So it's super sick. I'm super excited to like get into the game. From what I've seen, the open world people are saying is honestly like I don't know if this is true or not, but a couple of the reviews I've seen saying this is the best open world Batman game that we've got, that it's even better than Arkham City, and that the exploration and details for the city is really cool. We'll have to see. I've seen a couple costumes that I want to get from just the collectible costume things that have nothing, like I said, nothing to do with the campaign or story, so it's not spoiler free. But there's a couple costumes in there that look sick, and I also think they just added a feature, or they got announced when the game came out about the vehicles. I think you can collect different eras of Batman vehicles as well.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. The fact that the people are saying it's better, like open world wise, Arkham City is kind of crazy. Because Arkham City is arguably the best uh, of the three, of the main three, when it comes to open world stuff.
Yeah, I see a lot of people like said that it's like yeah, it's either that one or like Arkham Knight. I didn't really explore much in Arkham Knight, but I know it was a pretty good open world too. As much as I didn't really care for the game as much as the other three, but or the other ones before that one. But yeah, I mean it's super sick. I think for it to be, it's a Lego game, but it doesn't feel like a Lego game if that makes sense. A lot of people are saying that because
Yeah,
of the, intuitive combat system that they added. It feels like it's usually like I don't know how to explain it, but like usually like this is a good analogy, I guess. Most time when it's a Lego game, you feel like it's like Lego Spider-Man, but this one is like Spider-Man Lego, like Lego second, kind of like this is a Batman game in Lego form, not this is Lego in
yeah,
Batman.
yeah.
It's like the other way
Right.
around. But yeah, that's a debut thing for Sony. I think they're on the right track as much as like Sony is making some crazy decisions here and there with they're changing the subscription and the console prices or whatever. I think the one thing you can look at for Sony is that they're always going to be worth it after the fact of pricing for the consoles because they're exclusives and the games that they have outside of Bungie right now, who is collapsing, um, they're always worth it. I mean, exclusives are really good. I mean, you have, the Horizon games when they come out. Well, the next one, we'll see how good Gathering does, but obviously like the Horizon games, God of War, Last of Us, Spider Man's, Lego Batman now. Um, exclusives just always kill it on Sony. So like if you have a console, I highly recommend checking out the game. It's super sick. Like I said, I think I'll be playing it when it comes out. So I'll probably end up getting it to play on stream and or maybe record videos on. I don't really know. I'm not really a walkthrough person, so I do want to start doing like something on my stream where I like pick a day of the week to go live on when I go live on that day, and it'll be like a playthrough week or like a flashback week or something where I play like throwback games. Um, and I'm not sure if Shinobi will do a walkthrough on it or not, but maybe. So
Yep, hopefully. I just need to get to editing or finish editing first, and then I'll have time for it. So eventually.
yep. I think if you want to talk about it, you have anything you want to just like say that you're in the work for? Like we could talk about upcoming plans for our individual stuff. Like, do you have you announced like what the next game you're playing for your video coming out is, or you want to like disclose that? Or, I don't want to have you say it if you don't want to say it. So, but if it's shareable, or do you have any ideas of games you're gonna play? Maybe not after this one that you don't want to share, but like future ones.
I think I mentioned it already. Silent Hill F is the first one.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
done.
yeah.
I'm done. What is it? Recording and everything. I just need to get to editing and stuff. But after that, I have like no idea what I plan to do because I still do want to play. A couple games that I said that I was going to play. I did want to um, play Bayonetta for the first time. I did want to do um, what was it? Wukong. So I don't know if I want to do like those first because I've already said that I've wanted to play them and was planning to play them, or if I want to like mix it up and do like some of the new stuff that's coming out or that's already been out that I want to play and touch on, but um, we'll see.
Yeah, Wukong would be fire.
Yeah, so I guess like a little behind the scenes lore. I did play up until the first chapter, before like everything shit out and I lost the footage. It's super fun to play. I need to get back into it, and then I don't know if I'll like do an LP for it or do like a Liza P style thing where I just like play it for the first time, but just do like a huge like movie cut of it and then go from there. But we'll see.
I mean, either way would work for that type of game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that'd be sick. I don't really have nothing to like specifically share. Like I said, I did mention how I want to do maybe like flashback playthroughs. What I mean by flashback playthroughs on like stream or something. I recently just download. I mentioned this to Julio. I recently downloaded emulators for my PC, so I can emulate like PS3 or PS2 games. So I maybe go back and play some games like that. I like recently just started After Samurai again, so I'm not very far into it. So I might stream that on like Friday or something. Maybe call like Flashback Friday or something. And like I said, I do want to stream some playthroughs. There's just a couple games that I really want to get into that I'm playing right now that aren't the main games I usually play. I think I'm kind of taking a step back from, multiplayer like FPS games. I just don't have um a grindy game like that where I'm like super claws hooked into like a multiplayer shooter game. Like if I do play a shooting game, it's like the old ones that I've already played, like Valorant or like Apex here and there, but like nothing where I'm like, oh my God, I
yeah,
really
yeah,
want to grind this. Deadlock right now has filled that void, but I wouldn't really say Deadlock is like a shooter game. It's more of like a MOBA hybrid. And lately, the last few days, I haven't even really been playing Deadlock. I've been playing Smite, which is another MOBA. So I've kind of just shifted what I'm playing. But there's a couple games that I just want to get back into. Like I want to restart Warframe, or not Warframe. I mean Monster Hunter on my PC and maybe stream that. Warframe is a game I'm thinking about trying again. I mean, I tried giving it a try and I just didn't really like it, but that might be a game I want to try again. But I'm really just taking my time, enjoying games that aren't really like shooting games. Like that's why I started playing Arrow Samurai. I played a lot of Grounded 2 lately, and just hook my hands into those, or hook my claws into those, and try to get addicted to those. Those have just been more refreshing than shooting games. Like I said, multiplayer is just like a step behind for me right now. I think there's other games, story mode games, MOBAs, other multiplayers, MMOs that have been calling my attention more. Maybe hop back into Diablo. I don't know. I'm just kind of at the state where like
yeah,
I don't see myself grinding like an Apex or like a COD or even like Valorant. Like I can play them to an extent, but I don't know if I can grind them 10 hours a day anymore and play them every day.
for sure.
So yeah, I mean other than that, I if we don't have any more to share, I think we go ahead and wrap this one up. This one's a little bit shorter maybe than normal, but I still think we got some good time for y'all. We'll be back with another episode next week. We got a few topics we want to plan out, so we don't really can't really announce next one, but we're gonna go week by week, figure out something to talk about for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm gonna let Shinobi do his outro, and then I will go ahead and do mine, and we'll be out here.
Yep, just appreciate y'all for tuning in and listening. If y'all got any recs when it comes to like people I should be listening to, put me on. Cause Hero put me on A Witch. Highly recommend checking her out. She's Japanese rap, but she got some flows in her.
Yeah, that's sick. Also, speaking of recommendations, if you guys have recommendations of guests you guys want on the pod, also drop that in the comment below. I would say try to make it a reasonable guess. Don't go out there dropping like XUC or Kaisernet because we ain't getting one of them on here. But if you guys have a local friend or smaller content creator or someone who does content that you guys want us to maybe try to get on the pod, let us know. Comment below. Other than that, it's been your boy Drift. Make sure you guys check out my Twitch. It's in the link in the description below, or my YouTube where I upload my Twitch highlights from. Make sure you guys check out Shinobi's YouTube and stuff like that, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.